Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I'm Fanny Minnitt, your faith and inspirational lady, and I am here with part two with the international award-winning Sandra Hawkins. Hey, I know you hear me out there, so give her applause. Well, we do have some people here in the audience, but we will not be showing those people. And we shifted for part two, y'all. We are in Jesus Christ First Records and Productions LLC studio. Now, this studio is also the international award-winning Sandra Hawkins studio. And so we're over here doing something a little bit different than we talk about, something a little bit different than we talked about in part one. Part two, we're talking about getting into the industry, how she came about opening a studio. Yes. And we have with us also Norman Travis. This is the young man over here that you see. We have him with us with this interview to talk a little bit more on the technical side. Because Fanny Minnitt can tell you some things, but it might not be quite the truth about the matter. So I said, okay, we need the professionals to talk to you about that, because there's somebody out there that's not answering their call to music, to producing, because you don't know what to do. And so we're going to make sure that you know what to do. We want you to faith is an action word. It's an action word. So we want you to have faith, but take action in the thing that God has called you to. If he's called you to music, you need to know what to do. You need the resources. See, we have things we have to do here on earth. You know, when we walk by faith and not by sight, we have to walk in it. But sometimes in walking in it, it's hard for you when you can't see a little bit of something, but that's not what faith is all about. And then sometimes we walk in it and then we walk into foolishness and presumption. I never forget, was a prophetess. Well, I better not say her name because I ain't told I'm going to say her name. But I was in a class, I was in a course. It was 2009. And she gave the class a book. It was a very small class, and it was about faith. And she gave us a book, and it was called Faith, Foolishness, and Presumption. So we don't want you just walking out there foolishly. No. But we want you to understand that when you're walking by faith, God have the resources and the people and the things that you need to accomplish walking into your destiny. Yes. And so let's talk about this, Sandra. Yes. How studio? First, in part one, we discussed her being a writer, a producer, a songstress. The woman have a studio, a studio and engineers and stuff up in here. But before we talk, because they know you, they met you, but these people that's behind the scene that make things happen, like Isaac that's doing this stuff for us now. You probably won't see him, and then you have musicians people don't see. Then you have people like his mom, Julene. You don't see him, but they back there making things happen. And then you have Norman Travis, who on the engineer, who's gonna talk to us a little, and people don't see them, ain't studying them. They just know we do what we do, right? Yes. Okay, and so before you and I talk anymore, Travis, I'd like for you to introduce yourself and tell them who you are, what you do here.
Okay, my name is Norman Travis Sr. I'm currently Sandra's engineer, producer, might be manager, I don't know.
A little of everything, basically.
A little of everything. I just take care of most of the personnel, you know, the band members, the people that work on the studio, the people that help me set up everything. I take care of all of that for her. I've been in the music since 1978. So
that's a good minute, a good while.
Started out playing tuba, trombone, baritone. Then I went to percussion for about 20-some years. Then being in bands and stuff, so you learn different instruments. Okay, I like the bass guitar. The bass guitar stands right next to the drummer, so I used to watch him to see what he was doing, and I learned how to play bass guitar. Background singing, done a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I met a lot of famous people, a lot of famous musicians.
Doing what you do.
Doing what you do.
Okay,
you
so
know.
hold that thought right there. Just park it, because I'm coming back to you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Some of you might be saying, well, what in the world does this have to do with faith? Because you know I'm called for the message of faith. If you don't believe in what you're doing or believe in yourself, then you're not going to move into it. If you don't realize that faith is an action word, you're still not going to move into it. If you don't find the resources you need to do what God has given you, you're still not going to move into it. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes we allow the resources to stop us, or the know-how. God called you, tell you what to do. You say you have faith, but then he tells you open a studio. And you don't open the studio because you're like, I never had a studio before. What in the world I'm going to do with a studio? God tell you go be an engineer for someone who's opened a studio. I don't have enough experience, you know, and so we want you all to start walking by faith and not by sight. That's and powerful. Understanding that you need those resources to just move and move into your destiny, move into your calling. Absolutely. And trust me, God is going to send you the people. He's going to send you what you need. But what happens is God will send us people and resources, and we just, God, I'm waiting on you. And he already sent you what you need. I told you about something, I'm not going to say it here, but I told you about something I wanted to do, and it fell apart and that kind of a thing. And I said, it's been in my head, but I didn't tell her this for no other reason other than we talking like we've been knowing each other forever, right? And we just talking, she said, get the information and we'll make this happen.
We'll make it happen.
Okay? But I never even thought to go just ask somebody to help you do this.
Yes.
If God put it in your spirit, I guarantee you he has something or somebody out there to make it happen. Oh, yes. How did this happen, this studio thing?
Well, it started back in 2010. I think it was, May for sure in 2010 with my late husband, Ronnie Ray Hawkins. And he was an avid musician and a man of God, we found out in the later years of his life before he went on to glory back in 2010. He was an R&B musician for quite a while, did a lot of doo-wop back in the days he was doing doo-wop. I'm just going to go ahead and name one of the groups that he backup sang for and did for was, one of them was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And he did the Del Vikings, the doo-wop groups and those type blue, the Ink Spots. And well, we met in Las Vegas, Nevada back in the early 90s. And so actually I'm from Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. And I met him in Nevada. So I have a singer, an aunt who's a R&B singer by the name of Betty Swan. And she was very popular back in the late 60s and early 70s and 80s and everything. So I moved from Louisiana out when I finished high school out to where my aunt was. And long story short, I met him there one night as a opening group for their stage act, a girl opening group. And so we fell in love and decided we would come here to Belton, Texas, where his mother lived. He hadn't seen her in 20 years. And we formed our own gospel group. You know, he decided he was done with the R&B side of it. He wanted to become a man of God and get closer to Jesus and just minister gospel. And that's when we decided to open up Jesus Christ First Records and Production at that time. And
say the name of it again.
Jesus Christ First.
The whole thing.
Jesus Christ First Records and Productions.
See, I'm supposed to do that, not you, Sandra. And it's in Kempner, Texas. Now I want you to write that down, or I know y'all not writing no more. Put it in your phone. Make sure you put this in the phone because they do they do a lot, and we're gonna see. I told you I was gonna get back to you, right? Did you have any more to say about that before we shift over to Travis? Go ahead.
Just one thing. The song that's now out and is playing all over the radio stations, is out on the internet, all the music stores. You can get it online. Make Heaven Your Home. Before he passed that year in 2010, he started to write that song, and he didn't complete it before he passed in October of that year. I didn't know I was a writer. I didn't know I was a backup singer for him for many years, and what I do, and I was afraid, so nervous to go out front, and I didn't know I could go out front and sing like that. So I was encouraged by my aunt. She said, you know, go ahead and give it a try and just test the waters. And so I completed the song up and tried to make it flow and go in a way direction I felt God put on my heart that the song should go in the message that he left behind. And when I did that, I said, you know, this feels pretty good, sounds pretty good, and it's got a meaning to it. And I was touched by his spirit to go ahead and just put it out there the best that I could. And when I did that and put it to the radio station, put it out to the radio stations, they said, you know, we think this might work. And so I did that, and I went in on like a lot of stages, on national stages and things like that, and competition, and see if it would go over on the audiences and things like that. And once I did that, then Gospel USA magazine called me and said, you know, we're going to do a gospel retreat to the Bahamas. Do you think you might like to minister over there? And I said, sure, why not? And so when I did that, the song went #1 on the national charts that year.
Wow, congratulations.
And I was able to tour over there, and I said, well, thank God he's using me. I'm in the right place at the right time, and I think this is what I should be doing.
And so is that what led you to opening your own studio?
Yes, it did. It led me to opening my own studio, and so from that point on, I became interested in just really getting more into gospel music and writing and production. I had to teach myself because I didn't go to college or anything for that part of the music industry. And so I just kept reading and studying and trusting God and asking him to give me the wisdom and the knowledge to learn, because the will was there.
Right.
And I kept praying and asking him, and pretty soon I was out there meeting people and learning what other musicians were learning. And I, for long, I just opened up my company and went further and further and started going to more conventions and mingling with people in the same business arena. Before you knew it, I was settled and get my licenses and everything, and here I am today, 13 years later, in the arena.
Yes. Now, did you hear what she said? I'm all for education. Don't get me wrong. I have diploma, certificates, associate, bachelor's, master's, working on the doctorate. So I'm for education, but this is not what I'm for. I am not for this. When God calls you to a thing, I am not for you sitting back waiting till you get an education to do it. Because there are so many resources out there to teach you what it is you need. There are so many mentors that you can come up under to teach you what you need. Dive into it, immerse yourself into that thing that God has called you to do and start doing it. Don't wait. God and man, I talked about that on part 1. But don't wait for man to validate what God called you to do. You hear what I'm saying? Merge yourself in it. Now learn the business. Don't jump out there talking about you a preacher and you don't know nothing about the Bible. Don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. No. A musician and you don't know how to play. No. Okay? But no foolishness. No foolishness. But if God called you, when God called you, not but, when God called you to a thing, don't sit down on it waiting for man to say, okay, you ready now. Do it. Get busy. Now, Travis, let's go to Travis. We have people that's listening. The only reason they're here on this part 2 is because we told them they're going to find out some information about studio and music. And earlier you talked about you play several different instruments. You're engineering. You're doing all kind of things in the music industry.
Right.
How, for someone that wants to get into the music industry, and I want you to talk about this because I can't give them the right information other than what I've read. And you in it. You've been swimming in this thing for what, since 1978?
Right.
Man, I graduated in 1978. we some seasoned people sitting here with.
That's right.
Tell the listener, because there's someone out there right now, they want to know, well, how do I get into this? And I have all this talent, but what do I do with this? And in a studio, I would love to have a studio. What do you need to have a studio?
Right.
I would love to work for someone like an international award-winning Sandra Hawkins. How do I even get to that level? What do I do? Talk to them.
Well, the first thing they have to do, you would have to do, is listen. If you know any musicians in your area or in your neighborhood, city, whatever, just listen to what they have to say. I learned.
Talk to him right there and talk to her right there who needs to know this.
Mr. Terry Smith in Killeen, Texas, by going to his studio when he had singers in his studio, I would sit in his booth and watch him. I watched what he did. That's all you have to do. Don't open your mouth. Don't ask 10,000 questions. Just watch him and take notes. That's how I learned how to engineer. It's that simple. It's the same as learning how to play a bass guitar. If you want to know how to play a bass guitar, watch somebody that knows how to play it. You can learn it. It's not hard. It's only hard if you put it in your mind. It's hard. Like you said, God, for some reason, I was gifted to be able to do anything I wanted to do. When I got to a certain age, that voice came to my head and say, I gave you those powers. That was God talking to me. He gave me those powers. I didn't struggle with anything. Sports,
Amen.
music, English. It didn't matter what it was. It came easy to me.
So what you're saying, if someone wants to get into the industry to let's say they don't want to be in the they don't want to be up front talking.
Right.
They want to just want to run the international award-winning Sandra Hawkins studio. That's all they want to do. They want to they want to run the cameras, the keyboards, all these different things. What is the first thing you would advise them to do?
First thing I would advise them to do, to get that phone out, go to Google and go up under Google search, and you look for studios in your area. There are several studios that will teach newcomers how to do this. I mean, they don't charge you a whole lot because they'd be glad to teach. The older guys like me, we'd be glad to teach the younger people how to do it, how to properly do it. Not just do it, properly do it. And when you have an artist in your studio, that's your product.
Yes.
You cannot let them walk out that studio unless everything is good. Oh, yeah. That's how I was brought up. Mr. Terry Smith said, I'm not letting you come. It's not right. I'm not letting you walk out of here with that CD until it's right. Now, Mr. Terry Smith, that was the guy that taught me. I lived right down the street from him for 5 years and didn't even know till one day God sent me over there to talk to him. I saw the sticker on the back of his truck said, I Juice Records.
Okay, and so what I'm hearing, what I'm interpreting is, if someone wants to get into the background of music, they need to, if they're not in school now, if they're not going to school now, as soon as God calls them, they need to find a mentor. That is what I'm find a mentor. And then you mentioned Google.
Right.
So everybody don't have Google.
Right.
So if you don't have Google, do the legwork. Just do it manually. Find someone, get some yellow pages. There's still some phone books out there, y'all.
Right.
Or just go walk and then start paying attention. I'm telling you, if God gave it to you, you're gonna see it because He gave it to you. You're gonna see a studio. You're gonna run into somebody and listen to what they say. Listen to what people talk about.
Right.
If you listen to what they talk about, if you really listen to people when they're talking, you will hear what you need. But you first gotta listen. If you're just kind of basically listening and waiting to talk, then you don't hear them, right? And so if you would just listen to people and you just pay attention to what's going around in your, we're too quick, we're too fast now this day and time. If you slow yourself down and you pay attention to what's around you and what people are saying, and then you will find what it is God have sent to you, because God gonna send people to you. I call it kingdom connections. Kingdom connections. And so he will send those kingdom connections to you. And so you just need to slow yourself down. If you don't have Google, I don't want, in other words, there's no excuses. Stop with the excuses.
Right.
No
There's
excuses.
too many excuses. I don't have internet. I don't have this. You have everything you need. You have you.
Yes.
You have you. You have a brain. Use it. Okay? You have a mouth. Speak. You know,
That's
and so
good,
you know
Fanny.
how to, you can start reading. If you don't know how to read audio, there's no excuses.
Fanny.
Okay? No excuses. Out with the excuses.
Right.
All right. Now, tell us about this studio, and because they can come to your studio if a person really wanted to record music. What about audio books?
Well, that's something that we still have to set up right now and everything, because we know that that's what a lot of people are mostly asking for, and we definitely, that's on the agenda. Okay, that's definitely on the agenda, along with everything else, because we don't want to be behind. We don't want to be lagging in anything, and that's something that is, like I said, that's next on the list.
Next on the list.
Yes.
Okay,
and
so if a person want to record, let's say, I almost like to say an album, because I'm old school, y'all. But if they wanted to
but
record,
the vinyls are coming back.
the
vinyls.
You're
The
right,
vinyls are
because
back.
you're right. You're
They're
right.
back.
Okay, if you want to record an album, an MP4, do a voiceover, that kind of thing, do we do that here in
Podcast.
this studio?
Yes. all that.
Podcast, you do the podcast.
Absolutely.
Get out of here.
No.
Get out of here. And so they do all those things. Time is just, y'all, we running out of time. Okay, so tell them how they can contact you to make their, to have their podcasts done, to record their music, to do what they need to do at
Yes.
your studio.
Okay, you can go online to www.the-bde.com. That is our website. It's all connected to Jesus Christ First Records and Productions LLC. Or you can call 254-258-9674. Please leave a thorough message, and we will be more than happy to get back to you. Also, if you're in school, high school, and you're looking to major in any type of production, music, or anything of that nature, make sure you call us, write us, and let us know. And we will be more than happy to assist you in coming into here, and you can even make that part of your studies and receive credits for that. Make sure you let us know, and we would love to be able to assist you in continuing your education and receiving credits for that. Also, when the summertime comes and school is out, we are happy to announce that we want kids that are keeping their grades up. Now, you got to keep your grades up to come in here and work on some personal projects. We don't do anything explicit, but we do want you to come in and make sure that you enjoy your projects on us. But those grades got to be kept up.
Keep those grades up. This is Fanny Minnitt, your faith and inspirational lady. Just have faith and keep it moving.
I don't care what the world may say, it doesn't matter. As long as the Lord love lives inside, I'm free. He sees beyond tomorrow what lies ahead for you and me. I can feel his presence. He's opened my eyes to let me see. My God is real. His son died to save humanity. He shed his blood for us. We forget how and agonizing it was. What a price he paid, and still you won't say his name. Unless you've been saved, you're just another man going to his grave. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. No. For a man who gave so much, for a man who died for us, just to save the world from sin and greed. I'm free. Look at me, I'm free. The Lord gave his life for me, just to set us free. Oh, this song bears the master seal. If you could visualize what he went through, you could feel his pain and his agony too. But he never complained, and still you won't praise his name. Oh, but one day he's coming back. What will you do, and how will you wait? The time is not yet near, but oh, it's so clear. But the signs are clear. I'm free. Look at me, I'm free. The Lord died his life for me, just to set us free. Oh, I am free. Look at me, I'm free. The Lord died on Calvary, just to set us free. You know, there's power in the name of the Lord. All you've got to do is just call on the name of Jesus, and he will answer your call. There is power in his name. Call his name, feel the change. There's power in the name of the Lord. Lord have mercy. There is power in his name. Call his name, feel the change. There's power in the name of the Lord. Can I get a witness? Oh, listen. What will you do, and how will you act? You know he's coming back, he's coming back. What will it profit you to gain the whole world and lose your own soul? Oh, oh, oh.